All right, so in this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over some key reffing things. We're just gonna knock each thing out real fast. That way, y'all can get yourself nice and refreshed on what it takes to ref the matches at the Turtle Guard. All right, now the first thing we're gonna go over is controlling the match. Remember, because it's not one giant mat, we do have empty spaces on each side, which means if we let people go out of bounds, they're not just going into another mat, they're going onto the hard floor, so we gotta make sure we control the match. Now, a good way of just right off the bat controlling the match is as soon as people shake and go and they start kind of like, just start moving around like you're trying to go for light takedowns, okay? As soon as they start going, usually one person is going to tend to push the other person more than the other person pushes back. So if you notice one person's being the aggressor more, it's good to kind of stand behind the person who's getting backed up a lot. Okay, that way you can kind of keep them in. You don't have to get closer. You don't have to stop them necessarily. You just got to kind of stay behind them. So wherever you keep moving them around, okay? So wherever the back person backs move, if he moves her that way, then like I kind of just follow behind the person who's getting pushed a lot. Okay, that way I can keep them in the confines of the mat. That's a good way to make sure that they don't go running off the mat, because it can happen. Now, another thing that you have to worry about when it comes to controlling the match is when they're actually on the ground. Like let's say getting his guard. A good key thing to remember is generally whenever you have whenever you have two people on the ground, specifically inside somebody's guard, a lot of times those two people will tend to move in the direction of the head of the bottom person. Just because the person's always driving forward and the person on bottom is always scooting their butt back a lot, so they will tend to kind of move that way. So let's say that this right here was the edge of the mat. Instead of having to stop them and tell them to get up and move to the center, one quick fix that you can always do is just rotate them. Rotate their head, the person on the bottom's head facing in toward the center of the mat, and they'll tend to move in that direction. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, they'll move in that direction. So that's a quick way of controlling the match without actually having to stop them and move them, okay? Now, if they are on the edge of the mat and like somebody has like a submission locked up, if I could just maybe protect somebody's head from touching the floor, so I don't interrupt the submission, I'll do that, okay? But the moment the situation kind of calms down, like maybe she rips an arm out, boom, I'll pause them, and then I'll rotate them or I'll move them, okay? But if we can try not to interrupt a submission, just because they're close to the edge of the mat, let's try not to do that. But the moment it calms down, move them, okay? But if you gotta move them, if they're way going off the mat, then stop them. Okay, try to remember the position as best as possible. Move them to the center of the mat. Boom, go. Make sure you call time and just get it going. Just do it as fast as possible. Okay, don't let them milk that time either, because sometimes they're gonna like slow drag their ass to the center of the mat. Get them over there fast. Don't let them sit there playing with their belt. Okay, get them to the center of the mat and go. All right, now another thing that you want to watch out for as a referee is you want to watch out for illegal submissions and also bad sportsmanship like things, okay? Now I'm gonna have a cheat sheet on every mat that tells you exactly what submissions are not allowed and exactly what submissions are not allowed. So it's good to remember those, that way if you see them in action, make sure you tell them. You don't necessarily have to I don't want anybody necessarily getting DQ'd for starting to set one up. But if you stop it in time, it's just warn them. It's like, hey, that's not allowed, don't go for it, and just let the match keep on going on, okay? You want to try to keep everything clean, okay? Sometimes these guys, especially guys, will get really, really aggressive and they'll start doing things like maybe slapping the face a little bit too hard, or pushing, head kind of driving their head into them. Keep things clean. Do not be afraid to tell these guys not to do something like, hey, watch your hands on the face, you're slapping a little bit too hard, okay? You can give them warnings, but if anybody ever persists after you give them warnings, there's nothing wrong with DQing somebody if you've told them already once or twice not to do something and they keep on doing it. We want to make sure matches stay clean at all times, okay? Another thing is there are some things that are DQ worthy. For instance, slamming. Slamming is always automatically DQ worthy. So we can try to prevent slamming sometimes, especially if somebody starts to lift them up. The moment their back comes off the ground, don't be afraid to say it. Make sure you don't slam them, okay? You throw that out there, now they know, okay? And a lot of times they'll be like, oh crap, yeah, I better not slam them, okay? Control the match, okay? If you sit there and let the person slam them, yeah, you have the right to DQ them, but it does help keep you from having to DQ somebody if you just verbally say, make sure you don't slam them. Okay, if you see somebody's back come off the ground. And that's going to happen sometimes when they're frustrated inside somebody's close guard and they can't freaking pass it. Sometimes they'll pick them up, okay? Or when they're caught in a triangle, a lot of times they're going to want to pick them up. And even if they just pick them up, just a few inches off the ground and drop them, that's still intentional slamming. That's DQ worthy. So make sure you just tell them not to slam anybody. When it comes to submissions, okay, us as referees, we're there to control the action. Now, with the kids, you want to watch them like a hawk, okay, because kids are not always fast enough to tap out to submission, so we are there to protect them. We have every right to stop a submission if we think it is fully locked in and there's no getting out of it, okay? If an arm is completely straight, stop it, okay? If a key lock is perfectly locked in, everything's locked in perfect, and that elbow is lifting and that, arm's getting torqued, stop it. Kamuta's passing the belt back here, you can stop it, okay? If the triangle's super deep and you're hearing kind of like little gurgling noises or something like that, you can stop it, okay? Now sometimes, another thing that you want to be careful with is like sometimes some kids, when they get very emotional when they're rolling, like if they're caught in a bad position or if they're working really hard, sometimes they start to make noises like like crazy fucking noises, and they even starting to tear up. Now, if that starts to happen, you want to tell the kid, hey, stop making crazy noises or I'm gonna have to stop the match, okay? Because that kind of stuff, tears, yelling, making crazy grunts, can be seen as a verbal submission. They're basically not able to handle whatever it is they're going through, and you can stop the match like that. But we don't want to have to stop it if we know that they're not technically in danger. So verbally tell them, calm themselves down, don't make crazy noises or else they're gonna have to stop it. And if they continue, you'll stop the match, okay? It happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. Now, when the submissions start getting locked in, we all do jiu-jitsu, so we all know when submissions are starting to get set up. As soon as you see something starting to get set up, you want to get nice and close to it. That way you can get in there nice and quick if the submission comes to a finish. You don't want to be standing way far away while the submission's getting set up, and then when the person's tapping, you're so far away that you get in kind of late, okay? Getting really close. Okay, for the really tight, like covered submissions, like belly down arm bars, or key locks where the inside control and that arm's hiding under their chest. Sometimes you got to get down there. You got to get your head down there so you can look at the submissions and know when to stop it. Make sure you watch it like a hawk with these kids. Okay, the kids, it's our job to take care of them, and they don't always know when to submit. So that's our job there. Now, if we ever do call a submission that we think needed to be stopped, you are going to get some kids, and even some coaches and adults, but usually just the kids that say, I didn't tap. That's fine. You tell them, it's like, I know, it was too straight. I know, it was too set in. I stopped it for you. I know you didn't tap. I stopped it for you. Okay, and that's it. No need to argue it anymore after that point. That's the way it is. Every kid needs to learn that, and a lot of them already do know that. With the adults, however, we give them a lot more leeway, okay? We don't stop the submission if it's straight. We only stop the submission for 3 different reasons. 1, they tap out, verbally or with their hand. 2, they do a verbal submission like a yell or a scream. We definitely stop the match. Some of these guys are thick-headed and they'll let their shit pop. If that happens and they scream, we stop it. Or, last thing, we hear something like a nasty pop or some nasty thing. If we see something nasty happen, we absolutely stop the submission. Okay, I don't care if they didn't tap out. Okay, and that's just the way that it is. Or they go to sleep. Okay. Now, if somebody does go to sleep, and on occasion it's going to happen, it's not that big of a deal. If anybody has to stay calm in that situation, it's got to be the referee. Okay. If somebody goes to sleep, you stop the match. We all know what to do. We put the person on their back. We raise their feet in the air, and the person will wake up. Okay, they'll be just fine. Get them up slow. Walk them to the edge of the mat, and it's good. They're done. Okay, it looks a little crazy, we all know it happens, but sometimes some of us haven't really seen it in a long time. It can be a little shocking at first, but it's not a big deal. Okay, but that's why it's also a good idea to eyeball it, to make sure that we see somebody fall asleep if it does happen. Okay, it won't happen often, but it does happen, so watch out for it and always stay calm in that situation. One last thing when it comes to sportsmanship is if anybody does anything stupid like hits anybody or cusses anybody out, automatic DQ. They'll be lucky if I don't DQ them from all the divisions. So always keep a cap on. If it looks like things are even getting a little bit kind of like too tense in there, don't be afraid to tell somebody to calm down. Okay, calm down, guys. Okay, you are getting a little crazy. Okay, because those tempers start to flare sometimes. Some of these guys are meatheads. Okay. All right. So now Now, remember, this is a submission-only tournament, which means there's not going to be a point system. You're not going to have to call the points for anything. The only thing that's going to stop a match during the match is a submission or a DQ. But you don't have to do the points. What we do have to do is just make sure everything is running smooth and everything stays clean, and we stop submissions when somebody gets tapped out. And another thing when it comes to stopping submission, get her in an armbar real quick. One thing that I see at other tournaments sometimes is when the person gets them in a submission, you know, they say, stop, okay? I don't want you to just do that. When somebody is tapping out, we say, stop, 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 and we physically touch them, okay? Touch them and kind of raise the arm up, okay? Always physically put your hands on them and say, stop, 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 or tap, 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 when it's time to stop it. As soon as you see that hand or you hear that voice, tap, okay? Stop, 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 okay? You put your hands on both. You put your hands usually on the person who's tapping them out, okay? But you're trying to stop the submission. Put your hands on them physically. It's very loud in the tournament. There's a lot of shouting. There's a lot of yelling, okay? There's a lot of craziness going on. They do not, and the attacker is very, very much in the zone. They will not always hear you say stop, and they will not always feel or hear the person tapping out, okay? They are going hard. They're just trying to yank that armbar or hit that choke. So physically touch them and say stop, stop, stop whenever you're stopping it to make sure we always, keep it nice and safe as possible. Right? Good. Back up. Now remember, it's a submission-only tournament. There are no points, which means if the round ends and nobody has tapped anybody out, then it goes into an overtime round. And it's in the overtime round where we need to make sure that we do things properly. Okay? Now, for the kids, and your cheat sheet will be on your mat so you know who gets what, but for the kids and adults, we start in the arm bar, okay? But for the 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old and the adults, you're actually gonna have a coin flip to start in either the triangle or the arm bar, okay? And then the little kids, the 4 and 5-year-olds, they have a minute overtime first to score, okay? But 6 and up, we're gonna start them in the arm bar. Adults and high teens, they get a coin flip between triangle and arm bar, okay? Now, as soon as the timer goes off, don't waste any time. As soon as the timer goes out, the ball gets thrown in. Let's say she was mounted on him, okay? And then the timer goes off and say, time, okay? She gets up real quick, pick one, I don't care who, okay? And tell him, all right, right arm up in the air. If you're gonna do the coin flip, real quick, flip your coin. If it's the arm bar, this is how we're going to start it, okay? Make sure you see everything, okay? You tell the person on the bottom, all right, right arm up in the air. All right, set up the arm bar. And do it kind of fast. That way we don't, the more you draw out, the more we're going to draw out throughout the day, okay? This is how I want it done. All right, right arm up in the air. Okay, once, get the leg over the head, leg over the body. Good. All right, lock your hands up any way that you want to. They can lock their hands up any way that they want to. The person on top, hug the arm any way that they want to. They can hug the arm any way. They can even hug the leg if they want to, okay? That's not a big deal either, okay? They hug it nice and tight. Each person has their grip. Okay, and you tell them, all right, person on bottom, try to escape as fast as you can. Person on top, try to submit as fast as you can. You're gonna have your table person with the timer. When you say go, they will hit the timer, and when you say time, they will stop the timer, and that will be the first benchmark time, okay? Now, with the kids don't always know how to properly lock their hands up. So if you don't like the way they're looking, if you don't like the way their lockup looks, do not be afraid to lock it up for them. You can tell them, let go, cross their hands nice and tight, hug it super tight, squeeze their hands together, okay? And you can tell them, just straight up tell them to their face, like, they're gonna try to pull as fast as they can, so you make sure you hold on as tight as possible. Be ready, okay? Or you can do the bicep grab. That's a really good one as well, okay? But set it up for them if it doesn't look like they're setting it up properly, okay? The kids don't always know. Now, when it's time to say go, they lock up their hands nice and tight. They lock up the grip nice and tight. All right, ready, set, go, boom. And then they're trying to armbar, they're trying to escape. Now, one of two things is gonna happen. Either he's going to escape or she's going to submit. When it happens, the moment it happens, you yell, time, time, okay? And your table person will hit the timer. And it's at that moment when you switch places. So real quick, all right, now switch places, let's go. On your back, arm up in the air. All right, let's go, get on top, get the armbar. Okay, good, leg over the head, leg over the body. Lock your hands up any way that you want to. Good, lock up the arm any way that you want to. Okay, now, If Roger were to have escaped in the first round, that means she has to escape faster or she does not win. Simple as that. If she escapes faster, she wins. If the timer runs out, your table person is going to call time. Okay? If, let's say he escaped in 16 seconds. She has 16 seconds to escape. The moment the timer hits 16 seconds and she hasn't escaped, he wins automatically because she'll call, your table person will call time. He wins automatically. Okay? So she's got to escape in 16 seconds because he set the benchmark. Now, if she had tapped him out in 16 seconds, that means he now has to tap her out within 16 seconds if he wants to win. Okay? That's the way that it works. Okay? So let's say Roger escaped the first round in 16 seconds and now he's on top. These are the things that can happen. Either she's going to escape in under 16 seconds and win, the timer's going to go off and he wins, or he's going to tap her out within that 60 seconds and he wins. Okay? But either way, those are the three different types of things that are going to happen. One person sets the benchmark time, the other person tries to beat that benchmark time. If they don't succeed, we know who won. Okay? Now, when it comes to escapes, it is only an escape once they are completely out of danger. Okay? They have to be completely out of danger for it to be called an escape. So we're going to do a few rounds. We're going to do like 4 different rounds, okay? And I'm going to let them go for submissions and escapes, and I will show you when to call time, okay? That way it gives you a good sense of what to expect, all right? We're going to do 2 with you on top, 2 with you on bottom, okay? Nice and tight, nice and tight. Ready? Go. Elbow's coming out, but she hasn't escaped yet. She still hasn't escaped yet because she's kind of locked up tight in a triangle. That arm bar is still happening. Tap, tap. Good. And that's the timer. Okay? Now, if it was the kids, I could have stopped it on the very first straight. Okay? You have every right to stop it on that very first straight. If it was the kids. The adults, I got to let them go. Okay? I'll stop it when they tap out. All right? One more round. Ready? Go. Time. Okay. Now she slid all the way out. Now yes, at the last moment he may have been able to like reach far and pull that arm in, but it wasn't chain link enough. She slipped all the way out. She got a nice clean escape on that one. Okay? And things are going to happen pretty fast sometimes. They are going to happen fast, specifically for the kids. For the kids, you want to be right here in front of them for an arm bar because sometimes that grip breaks immediately and that arm drops down fast and goes straight. So you want to be right here to stop it if it goes straight, okay? Big time with the kids. Always remember that. Be on them like a hawk. Don't start from far away, okay? Ready? Go. Enough. It's not out yet. Elbows out, but he's not quite. Time. Good, good. Okay. Go. Time. Good, good. All right, let's do one more with you, and I want you to really think on the clock when you're doing it, okay?
One more with me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's go.
On bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on bottom. Ready? Go. If she's caught in omoplata, it is not over yet, okay? She has to get out of that omoplata first before this is an actual escape. Now she's put into a kind of a triangle position. It's still not over yet. Even though the armbar was gone, the omoplata was set in at that point. Time. Good. Okay? All right. Now, the same rules pretty much apply for the triangle position, but let me show you how it started. Okay? Roger on your back. Okay? Now, we'll say one person on their back, and we'll tell the person on top, all right, one arm in, one arm out. Okay? So one arm in, one arm out. Like that. The person on bottom, cross their ankles, only ankles. The person on top, both hands on the floor, right next to the hips, no grips. The person on bottom, 2 collar grips. 1, 2. Okay? Let's hit this other side right there. Okay? Just like that. If it's no-gi, they can cup the back of the neck. Okay, go to cup the back of the neck real quick. 1, 2. Head up, Rachel. Okay, like that. Okay, that's how you're going to start. Hands on the floor. Okay, just ankles crossed, 2 grips. Okay, this is how the triangle is going to start every single time. Okay, then you do the round. You call time. Boom, switch them real fast. One arm in, one arm out. If you don't want to get too confused on which arm, I always just do the right arm up for the arm bar, right arm in for the triangle. Just right one every single time. That way you don't have to pick and choose. Okay, but yeah, just right one every single time across the board. And that's it. Okay. All right, guys. Good job. Thanks.